Good afternoon, everyone. This is Bonnie McMahon, Medivosis Newberry. We'll be getting started here momentarily. I see some more people are logging in, and I don't want to leave anyone behind. Please note you are on mute by design. For those of you who attend our other monthly broadcasts as well, you know this already. We tried to eliminate the background noise by muting you all. But if you do have a question before we get started, go ahead and use the question icon on your toolbar, and we'll go from there. So let's give it another 2 minutes and we'll get started for sure. Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to be getting started here just in another minute or so. We seem to have an influx of people coming in. We don't want to leave anyone behind. You are on mute by design. Today's topic is we're going to be going through the Oracle Recruiting Cloud. So if that's not what you're expecting to see, that's what this webcast is about today. And if you have any questions while we're waiting to get started, please feel free to ask them. Use the question bar on your toolbar, and we'll go from there. And let's give it just another minute or so, and we'll get started. Okay, welcome, gang. My name is Bonnie McMahon. I'm Vice President of Sales here at Evosis Newberry. We're going to start our webcast. I want to first and foremost thank you all for joining us today. We're happy to have you. As I mentioned a minute ago, today's topic is Oracle Recruiting Cloud. I'm sure some of you have heard of it. Some of it may be a new concept for you. We're going to be kind of going through today talking about Oracle Recruiting Cloud, how it's going to help you with your recruiting needs, as well as talk about how it integrates with HCM Core. And of course, as always, if any of you on the line have questions, I know there's some familiar faces here, please don't hesitate to ask them throughout the presentation. You can use your question icon on your toolbar. We take those as they come in, so please feel free to stop us as we go. Since there are some new folks on the phone today, I want to introduce Evosis Newberry. We are a global provider of Oracle software consulting services. We are proud to have over 1,100 customers, but more importantly, especially for today's conversation, 950 of those are cloud customers. We are operating in over 30 countries around the world, and we have well over 1,000 consultants currently. Also, what makes us a little bit special is we're one of the very few partners that actually are certified through all Oracle 7 pillars, cloud pillars. So that not only HCM, like we're talking about here today, but that includes things like ERP, finance, EPM, Hyperion, and so forth. You'll also see here, we are proud to be called a Cloud Excellence Implementer, and we are certified as well. And that is something we hold very near and dear. And it actually, in the end of the day, helps you as an Oracle customer be a little bit more satisfied with your products and how they were implemented. On this slide, we've broken it down on how many clients we have in each pillar for you. I want to point out here over way left-hand corner, we have over 754 HCM customers. Many of those, as some of you on the phone know, include our Taleo customers as well. So we are highly focused on talent acquisition. All of us, including myself, come from a background of either recruiting or Taleo. So we feel we are kind of the experts in talent acquisition. And again, pointing out our specializations here. But more importantly, we have gone full global HR across the globe. We've got many implementations, but you can see talent acquisition is one of our sweet spots. As far as how Evosys Newbury goes to market and how we help our customers, it really starts with our resources, right? Our consulting resources. And I bring this slide up not to show you how many consultants we have, but more importantly, that they all have some sort of relevant background. For instance, they either have an MBA or a bachelor's degree, or for instance, the lovely Miss Sarah, who will be showing our Oracle Recruiting Cloud product here today, is actually a certified HR professional, has actually worked as an HR provider, and actually has implemented products for her own use back when she was an HR practitioner. So I think that really is important when you're looking at a service provider to understand where their resources come from and how they will help you implement the technology. We are a full service provider, meaning we do everything from implementations, upgrades, managed service, as well as training services as well. We love to help our clients, and we hope once you get implemented, you continually come back to us. So listen, this is a little bit of an eyesore of a chart here, but we wanted to show you what Oracle HCM Cloud looks like and all the different modules that it actually entails. And today we're focusing on the two blue boxes. We're going to talk a little bit about Oracle's HR Core, and as well as that new product, the Oracle Recruiting Cloud, which falls under the talent management pillar. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Miss Sarah Bragg. I think some of you have worked with her in the past or have heard her present before. Sarah is an HR professional. She's been in the software implementation business for, 10 years or so, Sarah. And she actually started out with Taleo, implemented Taleo as an HR practitioner, and then moved over to services. So with that, I'd like to say thank you, Miss Sarah, for joining us today, and I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you. Just one thing that I want to point out with this software, the ORC requires the Fusion HR Core. So on that slide prior that Bonnie was showing there, we just highlighted that because that needs to be implemented in order to run the ORC platform. It doesn't mean you have to implement all of the capabilities of the human resources platform, that core, but you just need to enter your base level, meaning your work structures, your positions, your job codes, etc., in order to run that ORC. So it can't be deployed on a standalone basis. Okay, perfect. So I'll have Bonnie go to the next slide here. So I think this is important because why now? Right, this is a new product out on the market with Oracle on the Fusion platform. So the biggest thing to remember is business is changing, right? Fast pace of everything driven by globalization and digitalization. So therefore, accelerating rapid growth, forcing companies to consolidate, divest, and grow at a really rapid rate. So organizations need to adapt. So what happens as a result? 50% of companies have disappeared. How can organizations adapt to this disruptive environment? Well, the key here is technology, right? Technology is an enabler, but people are the core. So getting the right skills and talent to lead and drive necessary organizational change is critical. This puts pressure on HR to transform to address this need, right? We need to identify the right skills. We need to attract the talent with personalized outreach. We need to onboard them. We need to develop them with the right insights to make an impact quickly and ensure internal mobility so employees can find the right opportunities and stay engaged as they contribute to business needs. To do this requires greater efficiency, not manual or disjointed processes that are blocking HR's effectiveness today. Oracle Recruiting Cloud, or as you'll hear me note or say ORC as an acronym, is a unified solution within the HCM Cloud family. It can uniquely solve this problem. We're the only solution out on the market that can help HR adapt to today's speed of change. So this is what we're going to get into to talk about a little bit further. And it's not all going to be slides. There's a couple slides here I think is important just to give the baseline, the foundation of this new product. And then I'm going to get into the latter half of the presentation right in the software. So you'll see a sneak peek of what that looks like if some of you haven't seen it already. So we'll go through the next slide here and we'll talk about how this system is based on candidate-centric focus. So essentially, the way companies acquire top talent today has obviously changed, right? All of you are HR professionals on the phone, recruiters, etc. So this is always on your mind, right? Organizations can no longer rely on that post and just hopefully and praying methods to attract that top talent. The days of just posting a job to a traditional job board and waiting for that perfect candidate to see it, to email the resumes, or to fight through that clunky application process are long of the past. This was the employer-centric approach. The expectation that top talent would simply find you is not really an option anymore out in today's world. So organizations that are succeeding in today's war for the talent have shifted to that candidate-centric approach. So they realize that candidates are shopping for the next employer like they shop for consumer goods. And, you know, people have witnessed, Bonnie and I ourselves, as well as when I was also an HR practitioner, we've witnessed the consumerization of hiring experience and how organizations need to approach talent acquisition more like marketers. Concepts, activities that were only once for marketers, like COE. Some of you might not know what that acronym is, but that's search engine optimization. Engaging landing pages with adding some videos, maybe of a day in the life at your organization. Also, email and social campaigns, drip campaigns, those are the direct marketing campaigns, nurturing programs, mobile optimization are now key staples of our modern talent acquisition. So the next slide here, everybody likes numbers, right? So they can go back when they're looking at, you know, hey, how are we going to make our case maybe of purchasing this software or making the move? So in today's hyper-competitive global economy, talent is your competitive advantage. We all know that. So in fact, according to LinkedIn's 2017 talent survey, 38% of HR leaders say that talent is their number one priority. However, you know, 68% of them admit that they have difficulty recruiting the very talents their organizations depend on to succeed. So we're currently living and operating in a very different talent environment compared to a few years ago. Year after year, employee retention rates continue to decrease to the point that now the average time spent at one single employer is really less than 3 years. And 14% of new employees leave within the first 12 months. So, you know, why is this? Workforce-related factors such as the desire for immediate advancement, competitive compensation packages, the emerging gig economic, are all resulting in a decline in the full-time employee workforce and are all providing challenges for all types of organizations. Also, right, we all know many young candidates entering the workforce, such as millennials, or those from Generation Z, are more informed than ever when determining their next employer and often desire flexibility, mobility, and seek out the best employment choices available, even if it means, you know, sometimes resigning from their current company. So we'll move on to the next slide. And really, the key three differentiators of Oracle Recruiting Cloud is number one, the intelligence. And the next few slides after this one is going to dive into it a little bit deeper as to what the intelligence, engaging, complete mean. Number two, it's engaging. So modern design, mobile responsive, all sorts of options for personalization, branding, etc. And it's a complete end-to-end software, right? So some of you might not know there's no more integrations required when you purchase that, you know, HCM Fusion platform. You know, it offers all of your complete solutions, and I do have a slide that shows all of the different facets in case some of you aren't aware of it. So those are the top 3 items that you want to take away from this presentation today as well. Is number 1, it's intelligent. It's going to be an engaging software for your competitive edge to attract that talent. Plus, as an HR professional, to get information at your fingertips, and it's complete. No more integrations. We'll move on to the next slide here. So the intelligent piece of it is Oracle Recruiting Cloud was developed as the intelligent first solution. So utilizing leading edge technology to give organizations that competitive advantage when it comes to hiring and retaining talent. The intelligent also helps reduce operating expenses as well as ownership costs. So just some examples. By leveraging the AI and machine learning, organizations can easily identify best fit candidates across passive and also active talent pools, reducing the need to manually browse through resumes and data. Also, there's capabilities to turn on chatbots, right? Those are going to enable recruiting teams to attract more talent by providing candidates with quick questions to answers and personalized communications, thus leading to more effective candidate interactions and allowing recruiters to focus on high-value activities. And lastly, additionally, our solution allows you to generate detailed hiring reports, providing answers to questions like, where are my top candidates coming from? How strong is my talent pipeline? How much is it costing me to hire new people? Helping optimize your recruiting process for the long run. The next key point, right, was engaging. So the Oracle Recruiting Cloud has been designed from the ground up to be a modern and highly engaging recruiting solution, providing organizations with the capabilities that need to attractively convey their culture, work environment, and application process to both internal and external candidates. So the solution features a variety of personalization and branding tools to help HR teams and recruiters take control of web page designs, messaging, tone, multimedia content, and guess what? Key thing here, all without any help from your IT. You as HR professionals can do this yourself. Users will also appreciate that ORC's intuitive and modern interface, which provides them, as well as the candidates, with a compelling consumer-like experience. And when it comes to this experience, users can expect to get this same, easy-to-understand interface across all of their technology devices, ensuring that employers and, more importantly, candidates can easily utilize their mobile devices for everything hiring related. So when it comes to sourcing, recruiting, organizations can no longer take a wait-and-see approach regarding their open positions. Instead, they're going to need to focus on putting that candidate engagement first. And the third point that I want to touch upon is that complete. So lastly, Oracle Recruiting Cloud was designed with a talent-aware approach in mind. So leveraging suite data to help further uncover talent insights and provide you with a visibility into the skills, career aspirations of your internal talent pool. So having a single unified HCM system not only allows organizations to run their entire recruiting and HR businesses on one platform, but helps alleviate the need for multiple recruiting products and vendors. This ensures that you get a solution natively integrates with your existing HCM environment, seamlessly provides you with one source and format for all recruiting-related data. Also, ORC goes beyond these traditional applicant tracking capabilities to include targeted CRM campaigns, allowing HR and recruiting teams to proactively communicate with candidate pools and market open requisitions to external as well as internal candidates, raising the visibility for open positions and helping establish an extensive talent pipeline. Together with HCM Cloud, the solution will provide you with a comprehensive end-to-end recruiting functionality, including multi-channel sourcing, job requisition management, smart candidate recommendations, and also onboarding tools. So last but not least, we'll get into one final data point here. I think it's always important to point out the Gartner 2018 Magic Quadrant. I'm sure all of you are well aware of this kind of report that is out there every year. So recently, this report was just published that the HCM Cloud Suite Magic Quadrant, where Oracle is named the most visionary and innovative vendor in the market. This is due largely in part to the release of the new Oracle Recruiting Cloud. So for the third year in a row, Oracle HCM is in the leader of the HCM Cloud. Oracle made the most upward and forward movement of any vendor. And Oracle is the only HCM vendor to make forward progress in the last 3 years. So without further ado, we are going to move into the demo.
Thank you, Miss Sarah. I'm going to go ahead and give you presentation rights. That's a good overview. We appreciate it. Just curious, for the folks on the line here, how many of you have heard of the Oracle Recruiting Cloud already? Because I know that it's been marketed a lot, and some of you may have heard of it already. I'm just a little curious. You can give me a show of hands. Wonderful. I see we have a few up there now. Excellent. Oh, we have quite a bit. Good, good. All right. So, Miss Sarah, we can see your screen, or we could see your screen. It went away there for a minute. I'm going to remind everybody, if you have questions as we go here, you go ahead and use the question icon on your toolbar, and I'll take those as they come in, and I'll ask Sarah to pause when appropriate so we can get those answered for you. Thanks, Sarah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Okay, so Bonnie, you can see my screen here where it says Create Your Future with Vision.
We certainly can. It looks great.
Perfect. All right. So some key things to point out with this product is you can have various different visual templates. And now you can also have multiple external career sites. You can add videos in here. You can also add images. You can also add your featured jobs. All of this is fully brandable, also configurable for this all to be set up based upon your organization's needs. There does also come some predefined templates in the software, so you can utilize that as a starting point as well. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the View Jobs here. So when I click on the View Jobs, some jobs are going to pop up here. We'll give it a second. But we also see here on the left-hand side of the screen is some different filters or search options. These are all real time. So if I move this, I can actually click these check boxes, and it's going to now show me those jobs. I can clear them out. I can also do different titles. We can also do different categories here, searches, and posting dates. So first off here on this side of the screen where your jobs are showing, we have the title here. This is a link where you can click onto it. You can have showcase of an image here if you wanted to have a video here. All of that is capable of the system during that implementation or configuration. So if we click on this job title here, it's going to pull up now a job description. So also, once again, videos can be added here, also images, various different container elements. So what do I mean by that? I mean, the About Us would be an element container, the About the Team. Also on this side here, we also have option to display fields that come off of the requisition here, just to give the candidates a little more information. We also see here different social media aspects here that the candidate is able to send that out to their social media network. Now also too, you can turn on the chat bots. So what we're going to do right now is just click apply, just to give you a look and feel of what the application process looks like. Okay, so something that's changed, right, or that you might not be used to, because some people are used to having to add, maybe that password. The design of this was just adding your email address. What this allows people to do is then they'll get an email once they've applied, just validating that their application is them actually. So what we'll do here is we'll just add an email address. And we'll hit next. And we'll give it a second. Perfect. Okay, one thing I want to point out here as well is we can upload our resume, and it's going to parse in the data in this application form. You can also use your LinkedIn profile. You can also use your Indeed. Now, another thing that's kind of neat as well is over on this side here, this gives the candidate, what steps are going to need to be completed. So if I click my resume here, and we'll go to my desktop, we'll scroll down, we'll give it a second. And once that pops in there, we'll scroll down on the screen and we'll see the other application options here. So it pre-populates things because that's that resume parsing. You always have the option to have the fields required. We scroll down here, we keep scrolling. Also, it's compatible if you want to turn on the EEO, self-identification. Also, one thing to know, if something gets updated, Oracle is going to update that for you. We scroll down a little bit further. We get into any job application questionnaires. It's a required field, right? So it's in red. I can answer these. And I scroll down and go to work experience. Now, I can also add another one if I wanted to add. A screen pops up here. We can add the employer name. Simple and easy. I can say it's my current job. I can hit done. I can also add an education. I can hit done here. I can fill out the rest of the form. And it's a nice visual aspect from a candidate standpoint. We scroll down a little bit further and we get into more information. So these are just very similar to the software that you're probably used to today. If most of you have Taleo, we have these different blocks that we can add. Also here, if there's anything that needs to be updated that parsed in, we can change that and we can just update it. We can hit done. We can add a license in here, and then now we can do work preferences that we can change. And these are all required. Now, I wanted to make sure that you saw that, right? So that was at no. As soon as I hit yes, it automatically says the frequency by default because it wants more information. So that's all an option too when you do the configuration. Last but not least, all I would do as a candidate is just hit agree and then just hit submit here. And that's as simple as it is. And also remember, this is going to be all mobilely optimized. So once I hit submit, the candidate's going to get an email asking them just to validate to say, was this you actually applying to this job? And I see, Bonnie, I just wanted to take a pause there because I saw the orange chat. There was no questions, is there?
No, that was a different question. We're all set. I really like where we're going. So for you guys on the phone, I think, again, Sarah made mention, some of you may be running Taleo today. You're used to being able to configure these different fields. This is really no different than what you would do today. I just think it looks a little neater, more modern, and of course, it's very mobilely optimized.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, perfect. Let's just hit submit here. I'll show you that. That just takes a minute. While that's doing it, I just want to also touch upon really briefly, there is also too, which I won't be able to show today just from a time constraint, but I just want to make sure I note out to you. There is a self-serve option for your candidates when they come back into the system after they've applied to a job. So what that means is that they're going to be able to see, their status if you want, where they are in the recruitment process. If they wanted to, they could delete their profile. They also can withdraw their application if they want. They can also turn on notifications on jobs that match the categories they selected to get emails to say, hey, a job's actually come online. So that's all going to happen in the screen if a candidate comes back after they've first applied and validated that first application form. Also, just like Bonnie mentioned, I'll be noting here some options with Taleo Business Edition or Taleo Enterprise. They're also allowed to apply at different jobs. They can apply to multiple ones the second time that they come back in. So that's all really nice for the candidate experience, that they don't have to apply one-off once they've submitted their first application form. So now what we're going to do is we're going to switch gears and we're going to go to the recruiter side. And I'm going to touch on a little bit of the kind of core aspect of it before I jump into the true recruiter options, just so that you see the power of different things that are available in core, even if you just turn on the base option. So we'll go to the recruiter screen. This looks okay, Bonnie, too. It's blue. It says recruiter, Sheridan.
It absolutely does.
Okay, perfect. So some of you who have seen the product before might be used to seeing a different screen where maybe there's a cloud background with little colorful icons for all of these different options here that this recruiter has available to them based upon their role. That absolutely can be also your landing page. This here is the mobilely optimized page. This is the look and feel, but this all can be designed when you're actually doing your implementation. So this is called, in technical terms, the landing page. You can redesign this with the different blocks, but so can the end user. They can change how they want this look and feel or what they want to display on this screen. Also, there is security, just like with your Taleo Enterprise or with your Taleo Business Edition. What that means is that if I'm a recruiter here, I only will have access to what I need to have access based upon my recruiter role. If you're an HR specialist in the system, so forth, same idea. If you're a hiring manager in the system, same idea. So if we go up to this little hamburger menu on the right-hand side of the screen here, the navigator, again, very user-centric end user experience, many different ways to get to the end result. So I can drop this little me down and I can see everything about myself here. I could go into personal information and I can add personal details about myself. I can add contact information, family emergency contacts, documents of records. So just like it says here, any examples. I can see my employment details and my compensation. So these are just some things that you can configure in the system. You can turn on as much or as little that you want. And depending on the various modules that you've purchased, the employees will have different access to doing different things. So just before we leave here, I just want to show how easy this is for someone to change it. It's just a little pencil icon. I would just click on this little pencil icon here, make my changes. Now, you might be asking, hey, I just don't want people coming in here making changes and no one getting notified. Not to fear, you can set up an approval workflow that this might need to go to someone in payroll, or this might need to go to, someone in HR, just notifying them that a change has happened, is this okay, and an approval process can be added to the system if that was the case. We'll just hit cancel here. We'll just go back here. Also, you can add any disability info, etc. that can be tracked. We'll move back. Okay, employment info. Again, all these screens are fully configurable. It tells me who my direct manager are, any contract details, if I had any contract, anything like that. We'll move back, and we'll go back up to this navigation again. One thing else that is nice that I find anyways as a new employee going into an organization is this directory option. So if we click on this directory option here, I can search for a person. I can also see my public info. So the public info here, this is what's displaying to people when they search for me and they take a look at me. I can also hit the show more. And this is all the different options that people would be able to see about Sheridan here, me as the recruiter. One thing that's great about this software, and again, it ties into that AI, is this skills and qualification piece, right? So employees, when they come into your system, they're going to fill this out. This is part of the base HR core that you can turn on. And they can add any additional skills and qualifications that they have. That helps the system identify, jobs that they might be successful for from an internal candidate standpoint. It also gives this nice little kind of quadrant or kind of this bullseye approach where it tells me, hey, based upon the job that I've been hired to, what the competencies are and what are my proficiencies. I can also see my degrees, I can see any honors, awards, I can see any licenses, certificates, and so forth. Talent ratings, all of that. Okay, we'll hit done there. Now, another thing that I find that's very useful too, and we always struggle this as HR professionals, is how do we print those org charts? I remember back in the day, I used to have to do them in PowerPoint and it never worked out. I had too many boxes, it would go over the screen, etc. With this system, as you add your employees, as you set up your hierarchy, it's going to build these org charts for you. I can actually click on these people, drill down to that personal profile like you just saw of Sheridan. I can also have their email address, their phone number. I can also see the rest of their org structure as well. Great thing here, I can print this. So this is something else that's really powerful. Again, this is just a simple base that you can implement. You don't have to implement everything, but it is sending, internal employees, those candidates a great message, because I might want to talk to someone about that job before I actually apply to it. So we'll go back here and we'll hit this vision here. So as you can see, there's also performance management, which we did a webcast on last month. You can see there is a payroll functionality, there's learning, there's wellness, competitions. All of these are various modules that you can turn on in your system. So what we'll take a look at now is we'll go into basically her as a recruiter. So we'll hit the home. And what we're going to do here is we're going to hit My Client Groups. We now see that we have an option here for hiring. So we're going to click on Hiring. Okay, so now we see all of the job requisitions that this individual is responsible for. I also, on the left-hand side here, have a navigation key. So I can search candidates. I can do an advanced search on different filters, on different options here. Also, obviously, in your implementation, you can update this screen to have different, search options that you might currently use today, or you might think, hey, that I didn't have that before, and now I can add it here from a search capability. We can also do campaigns, like I mentioned. So campaigns are going to be those CRM kind of functionality that you send out to those targeted groups. Really easy and simple here. You would just hit create, and then it would come up with your campaign options or fields that you need to fill out, the specific requisitions if you want, and who's the owner, and you can run those campaigns in your system.
So Sarah, can I interject there?
Sure.
I love the campaigns, right, because I was a recruiter in my past life, and I love the idea of going out and being able to scour my database and shoot out consistent messaging across my candidate pools. I think that is such, as true recruiters normally would do, I think that is a huge piece of this functionality.
Absolutely. Also, one other thing to build upon that too, you might do your campaigns and then you're getting emails from candidates, etc. But now you can build those talent pools. So the talent pools, if many people don't use them today, they are certain pools that you can set up and you can put your candidates that you might want to put on hold, or you might want to put just off to the side just because, a future job is coming up. It's not out there. It may not have been budgeted or approved yet, but you don't want to have to search for them. So really easily creating candidate pools, you can make them private, so they're only for yourself as a recruiter, or you can make them public. And last but not least, you can see the job offers out there that are, waiting for approval, what you've done. So that's all on the navigation side here. So we'll go back up to the job requisitions. And what we'll take a look at is these summary. So all throughout the system, you're going to see a little drop down, little orange, and it's orange here just because of the coloring of the system here. So I can fill a job requisition. I can preview the job requisition. I can cancel it. I can duplicate it. I can create a template. I can also attach interview questions. So if we click on the title of the requisition, and you might be wondering too, is it always supposed to be in blocks like this? It's just a block view. I can do a kind of a list view here too, if that is more aesthetically pleasing to the end user. We'll go back to this block. We'll click on payroll lead. And now we see kind of a summary of that requisition. Plus we also see a summary of how many candidates need to be reviewed because they're new, we haven't taken a look at them, how many are active, and how many are prospects. So just as a reminder, right, the prospects aren't actual candidates that have applied to this requisition. You're going to need to send them an invite for them to actually apply to make them a valid application, and then they're going to land up underneath the new and then the active once we've taken a look at them. So just some key things to point out here. There's the details of the job requisition. Once again, fully configurable to match your requisition form here. So if we scroll down, everything is kind of collapsed just from a UI standpoint, but all you need to do is just open up that information and you see these fields pop open here. Same thing for budget, compensation, so forth. So position, posting description here. You have an internal description and you also have an external description as well, which is great because we're going to show very briefly kind of what that internal experience looks like as well. Also job application questionnaires, resources, and that configuration. So one thing too, screening services. So there's screening services already with HireRight. However, if you work with a different partner, you can have them reach out to Oracle and they can start that process of becoming an OVI partner on the marketplace for the ORC platform. Also, job formatting here. This is kind of great. Why do I like this here? I like this because it tells me, hey, the internal, external right here, but underneath this underneath this preview here, I can actually preview what this is going to look like from a candidate experience. So I can take a look at this desktop what it looks like from an external desktop. I can also take a look at what it looks like from a mobile device. So I don't need to go back out to a different URL. It shows me this right in the system of how this is going to look. I just click done here to get back to that next screen here. I also can take a look at the postings. So currently today there is job board distributions as well from an integration standpoint with eQuest, and also collect interview feedback. So those are some things that are available today with the software. We just click this little arrow here and I can view the feedback, or because I'm a recruiter, if I needed to delete that feedback, I absolutely could. If I click view feedback, it's just going to show what this feedback was from that individual that we requested it from. We're just going to hit done here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go back. Perfect. So if I click on these 9 candidates here, it's going to show me my active candidates. It's going to show me the different workflow statuses that they're in. It's also going to give me some level of their education here. And if I drop down this little arrow, I also, once again, have kind of like that quick action that I can take on this candidate. We'll give it a second for it to pop up. Perfect. So I can move someone in the workflow. You can have multiple workflows as well in the system. I can add someone, this individual, to another requisition I might be working with. I can add them to a talent pool. I can add an interaction, send an email, collect feedback, that interview feedback, or I can just go create a job offer. All right from this, high level kind of snapshot view of my active candidates. Now, if I wanted to drill down deeper into the candidate record, all we do is we just click on this candidate's name. And for today's purposes, we'll just click on this Mark Hilliam. We'll give this a second to pop up. I've learned not to happy click.
Yes,
sure.
Don't happy click, especially over the GoToMeeting. It will slow you down.
Yeah.
And is there an ability to sort these candidates by like most experience or schools they went to or location? Okay.
Yeah. So
I don't want you to happy click, but
I know. Yeah. It might now with this show, it might now like stall things just because this is a demo site. But you can show filters and you can sort them and choose the different filter options.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep. No worries. I should have known better than to click that when I was doing this. We'll give it a second here. I can also reload it.
That's okay. So, guys, whenever we go across demo zones and across a WebEx or GoToMeeting like this, we get a little slowdown. Especially probably because Sarah's up there in Canada. I like to blame Canada.
Yes, no worries. We'll give it a second here. It will pop up.
I'll remind everyone, if you have any questions, use that question icon on your toolbar. We're happy to take those in as they come in. And we'll also be, after this demo, we'll be talking about if you're running Taleo currently, what your options are. So Sarah, I'll let you go back to your demo here.
Yep, no worries. Okay, here, this is now I say real, but this is a candidate's profile here. This is kind of a look and feel. Obviously, we can configure this to be different if you wanted to show different things in different areas. This is where you would show any attachments, any interactions that you might have with this candidate that you can add. So logging a call, logging an email. Also, if there's any automatic notifications that are going to go out, that's where these are going to log here. The job application questionnaire, also screening results will be in here, and the interview feedback. Once again, we can move the candidate over here in the workflow. I can also drop this arrow down and I can see, just like from that quick option, like we saw on that prior screen from that orange menu, it's the same sort of idea here. If I click move candidate, it just starts where I can move that candidate in the workflow process. So that's kind of just a really high level of what that candidate look and feel can be here on their screen. And I'll just show you here how that workflow process works. We'll give that a few moments. these little options here, just in case while I'm waiting for that to move, that's just the social aspect here. If this job was posted out socially within the company itself, different kind of comments can be taken back and forth with each other from the social network. Also, this here would show the progress. So here's kind of how your workflow would be. So the phase and the state. So this here is all configured just like your recruitment workflow would be currently today. Also, I say when you're, transitioning, maybe you're in Taleo Business, Taleo Enterprise, and you're transitioning to ORC, always when you're doing that, you should look at your workflow processes or look at your HR processes from a talent acquisition standpoint, because now's the time to streamline your processes. That's really kind of the foundation, right, that ORC was built upon, is streamlining plus integrating with one whole system. So you don't need to have those different integrations into your payroll company, etc. So another thing to note as well is that there is now also too standard integration with assessments, and video interviewing partners is also available as well in the software. Okay, perfect. Now, another thing too, some people might be thinking is, hey, can I displace candidates with those disqualifying questions on the questionnaire? Absolutely, the system will disqualify those questions and move them into a status that you deem appropriate that you want to do. Okay, perfect. Any questions come in with any of that, Bonnie?
There was a question. It says, we have someone who's currently running today at Taleo today and would like to know more about the platform. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to reach out directly to you for sure. And I think the other question that came in is, does this have the same Taleo functionality as automatically disqualifying people? Sarah, like in Taleo, if they click, I have a felony record, they can't do certain jobs. Does it automatically disqualify or put them in a disqualification pool? Or is that something that we have to go back and, and double check on?
No, that's like that would be your disqualifying questions where it would knock them out.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so available.
It's not called, I know like in Taleo, it was called knockout, right? Knockout.
Same idea. Yeah, same idea. Yeah, just a little bit different terminology, but very similar. Yes, it's available.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Yep, no worries. So we'll just hit done here. And then lastly, what I wanted to kind of touch upon here is just to give you a high level from an internal standpoint, because I know a lot of you, I see very familiar faces who have joined it, has internal candidate experience. So I just want to make sure that you get a little taste of that as well. And like Bonnie said, this is just to get individuals kind of like, hey, haven't seen the product, etc. If you want to do like a deeper dive into, the software, hey, can it meet your needs? What about this? What about this? Then absolutely, we'd love to jump on a call with you guys to talk about it. So if I'm here on my landing page again, I went back to the me now because I'm out of my client groups. If I just click on that current jobs, okay, this is where I can see any job applications that I've submitted. I can see my favorite jobs. I can actually apply to that job. This is a job of interest. Another thing that's neat with the system as well is I can actually refer. So I can actually click on the referrals. I can actually click on, say, my favorite job here I liked, and say I click on this. I can actually drop down these actions here, and I can refer an employee. I can refer a candidate. So if I refer an employee, I can do the employee name here. So we'll just search quickly. We'll do Betty Anderson. I can hit continue. I can also send a message to the candidate that I'm referring them. I can also add an endorsement. One thing else that's kind of neat is if you think of somebody and you refer them, but that individual's already been referred, you can still add an endorsement, as that's like, hey, I really think this candidate would be a great fit. So not to fear if they've already been referred, you can still add, kind of your 2 cents of, I really think this person should be looked at. So that's just to give you like a sneak peek of that internal process there. Once again, that talent profile that I showcased from the core piece if you have that filled out or your internal employees are filling that out, that's going to pre-populate items when they apply internally into their application form. Also, something that's nice is they can actually see who the hiring manager is and who the recruiter is from an internal perspective, and they have their contact information. Maybe they've got more questions that they'd like to reach out to these individuals. And that's all available from that employee internal experience there. So another thing that you guys might not be aware of, but there has just been a release for 19B, and I do think it's important to touch upon it. So there is a little video out on YouTube of the new releases, a snapshot of it, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone is aware that this is all capable in the system as well. That's just recently introduced within the last week or so. So this is very neat and exciting, but recruiters can schedule interviews, and then your candidates come in and actually pick the interview time slots that they'd like to be interviewed at. It's also on their mobile device. This just gives you a quick little look and feel, and from a desktop. Also, they can request more information as well. So kind of like that second tier application process that people know, that buzzword from a Taleo Business Edition and also probably from a Taleo Enterprise standpoint, that is a capable feature as well. Next thing we get into is that selection process. So in Taleo Enterprise, you can actually do an automation that, Bonnie, I think this is kind of goes hand in hand with the question that you had. So you can automatically move people based upon meeting the needs, plus also the knockout. So that's available in 19B. So if some of you are currently on or 19A today, then this would be available in your upgrade. And again, it was just released a couple of weeks ago. And also too, recruiters, they can set up interview time slots. So that goes hand in hand with your candidates being able to select what time slots that they want to be able to be interviewed. And the participants are going to be notified as a calendar invite. And then we scroll down, last but not least, there is a talent community now as well that people can join. So this is going to be something very similar to, I believe, Bonnie, it would be like the same idea as the social sourcing that was available with Taleo Enterprise and Taleo Business Edition. So same sort of idea. Correct. Now, the talent community. So very similar look and feel, mobilely optimized for your candidates to go today. And also too, jobs posted externally are also optimized now for Google Jobs. So they're more easily surfaced in the candidates in Google searches. So that's all available today now in 19B. And then there will also be a 19C release and a 19D to finish off the 2019 year. So you want to stay tuned for those and watch out for any new little snippets of information. They always will post a great little 3-minute video of the new functionality for everyone to see. So with that, Bonnie, I know we have a few minutes left and we wanted just to touch upon briefly about Taleo Enterprise, Taleo Business Edition, etc.
We do. I'm going to actually take presenter right back here. Bear with me, gang.
Yep, I can stop showing.
So that's okay. I'm going to make myself presenter. So here we go. I want to talk a little bit about how you get to Oracle Recruiting Cloud. A couple key things that Sarah brought up that I want to reiterate here. You have multiple choices with this tool and as with Oracle just in general for talent acquisition. But this tool, while some people may say, oh, it's too new, that's actually not true. It's actually been around for a couple of years. It hasn't been prevalent. But they're adopting new feature functionality, a lot like what Sarah just showed with upcoming releases, where you'll see a like-for-like relationship with Taleo in many aspects. So, Sarah, do you want to talk about the adoption, or do you want me to go ahead and?
No, I can jump in. Yep, that's cool. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Okay. So, currently today, with our organization, we are involved in quite a few ORC implementations and, full adoption of the platform, switching, and also adapting, those new functionality as they come into play, right? So that would be the first option, would be that full adoption. So just jump right in, transition from your Taleo Enterprise, transition from your Taleo Business Edition to full ORC, with also knowing you've got to implement that core HR, right? But just base. You don't need to turn on all the bells and whistles. And don't be nervous, right? Some people, I think, get a little, oh, this is a big undertaking. Hey, all of you guys have done implementation with Taleo Business Edition or Taleo Enterprise, right? So you already have been through that sort of process here. So you already know the recruitment aspect of it. So, this here, it doesn't need to be a scary, process. And here at Ebosis Newberry, we help walk you through, do that training approach where your HR individuals are going to absolutely know how to run this software when we leave them after the implementation. Plus, there's also, support options after the fact. Now, you could think, okay, maybe I just want to do a phased adoption approach. So you could decide to say, okay, maybe I only want to do it for one country because maybe you're a global organization and maybe you want to test it there before you roll it out to everybody, or maybe a different business unit. All of that is capable, and all of that is something that we talk to clients about to say, what actually meets your needs or what's the best approach for you. Now, one thing that we want to make sure that people know is that really it's not a great idea to do a partial adoption, right? We don't want to use ORC and another ATS for joint processes, right? Even from a logical HR standpoint, that's not going to be very effective and useful if you're using two systems. So really you want to focus on, and we'd love to talk to you about your current situation, that full adoption or that phased adoption would be the two that we'd be looking at when we're talking with you to see what is best going to adopt for your organization. Did you want to add anything, Bonnie? Or?
No, I just want to reiterate, for those of you on Taleo today, you definitely have a lot of paths and you have a lot of considerations. So with that, we're inviting you to give us a call directly when we can help look at your Taleo as you're using it today, talk about your current situation, talk about what can and what would look and feel a little bit different in Oracle Recruiting Cloud versus what you do today. We can, as Sarah mentioned, schedule a demo with you. Much like our Taleo implementations, our ORC implementations are also fixed cost, fixed scope, meaning we mitigate a lot of the risks on you financially because you always know what you're going to get in your implementation. You always know what it's going to cost. We can also talk to you about supporting it moving forward. So I think with that, I'm going to remind everyone, Sarah, that to ask any questions now, they can use the question icon on the toolbar, but then we'll take those questions as they come in. I think one of the things that people, we didn't get a chance to talk on because we're at the top of the hour here is reporting. I think it's important to note that when you buy this tool, you get the Oracle OBIE, or the robust reporting Oracle backend here. So you can run reports to your heart's delight if you're a reporting kind of person. So I think that's really important. And it comes with many out-of-the-box reports already, a lot like what Taleo did. And you can customize those as needed. So, Sarah,
and you can also pull... Just one more thing, just to note with the reporting too, you can pull from different areas. If you have different modules in the software, you can pull from those different modules to create custom reports. So because it's one platform, unified, everything's housed in one place, it's not like you would have to go outside and have one report for this, one report for this. You can create one report that houses everything and pulling from different aspects. That's a key I think a great thing from an HR standpoint, because you might want to look at something in another module and attach it to an employee or maybe to a candidate or something else. So I just think that's a key thing to point as well.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I don't see a ton of questions coming in here, Sarah. So I guess with that, we can give everyone, I guess we don't even have a minute to give back. It's at the top of the hour. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Please reach out directly if you have any questions, and we'll happy to take a look at your Taleo instance today and see how we can help from there. Thank you, Ms. Sarah. We appreciate your demonstration, and thank you, everyone. Have a nice afternoon.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right. Bye.